with Candace. Today we're going to be talking about the interview process for your new employer. Okay, so when you are going out to apply for different jobs, this could be either on Indeed or through the company's personal careers website. Definitely take the time to read the description of the position that you're looking for and see what requirements that they're looking for as well in terms of education, years of experience, and different types of descriptions that they are explaining, and see if you can basically fit those descriptions. Okay, so when it comes to it, definitely have a resume prepared. If you do not have a resume, definitely take the time to look at different samples from your resume. If you're fresh out of college, definitely be sure to include those clinical hours. Employers do like to see how many hours of clinical experience that you do have. They often like kind of a little bit more than like 350 hours of clinical experience over a 4-year period, depending on which type of degree that you've achieved. So definitely get that resume together. Make sure you have all of your relatable experience on there, your school education, your GPA as well, and also put on there all of the clinicals that you've had. Once you've got out of the new grad stage and you're just going from one employer to another employer, you'll definitely remove all of those clinical experiences and just do the different types of registered nurses jobs or whatever affiliated jobs that you've had during over maybe the past like 5 to 10 years. Okay, so definitely do that. But when you're in the interview, you definitely want to at least bring a copy of your resume as well. Do not assume that your employer is going to print out your resume just because that you provided it during the application process. Do your due diligence and be prepared. Bring that resume so that they can make copies of it and give it to whoever else that they might have present during your interview session. Definitely come business casual to professional during that time as well, and arrive on time. Do not be late to your interview. First impressions are key. So when it comes to the actual interview process itself, the biggest question that they start off with is, tell me about yourself. We can all read your resume. Do not read your resume off to the employer and basically describing what you are just through your resume. What you want to do is basically start off with you, your personal self. What school did you go to? Where are you from? What are some things that you like to do in your spare time? Why did you choose nursing? They want to know that you're not just one-sided in enjoying your career, but you also have a balance and a life outside of that. They want to know that you are able to be well-rounded and able to kind of have definitely a lot of self-care when it comes to nursing. People can get very burnt out when they are so super consumed with just their nursing career. They want to see that you have other activities outside of that. That'll help to kind of get to know you a bit better as an employee and see what it is that you like and how we can kind of make conversation and stuff based off of the things that you like. So definitely when you're talking about yourself, definitely include the pertinent information in terms of the things that you do with your career, as well as the reasons why you got into nursing, what things that you like to do outside of work, and also talk about any career goals that you have. Employers also like to know that you're going to be there for a period of time. If that hospital is able to provide you with career advancement opportunities, definitely let them know that you are interested in becoming certified in your specific unit. You're interested in taking like a team lead position. You're interested in teaching and becoming a preceptor. They like to see that they have someone coming in who's not just going to be a bedside nurse, but can also be an asset to the unit. They want to see that you're able to contribute mutually. They give you the educational material and you basically pay your respects back into helping other people come into the unit and having a good quality time coming in. So definitely let them know if you are interested in advancing your career. It's very important to establish a sense of rapport with your manager and your other coworkers as well. in the event that you do move up, and people make recommendations and nominations on who they would like to see in a leadership position, or who would be good doing a preceptor role as well. So keep that in mind when you're doing your first like initial introduction about yourself. So when it comes to like the interview questions, a lot of times the interview questions will be very general. They don't have to necessarily be very specific to the units that you've worked on, but they will ask based off of your resume, what types of patients have you had in med-surg, or what types of patients have you had while working in the intermediate care unit. So from my experience, working in an intermediate care unit, the types of patients that we've seen are those with chest tubes, those who have been on tracheostomy on the ventilator, those who have PEG tubes or like feeding tubes who are getting fed through their stomach. We have patients who have come back from open heart surgery. We have patients who are in AFib RER and are on cardiac drips. So definitely let them know the types of patients that you've seen and the different types of skill sets that you have. You have experience with chest tube management. You have experience with inserting Foleys. You have experience with changing out the kangaroo pumps and priming the tubing and feeding your patient through their PEG tube or their NG tube. There are different types of skills that they're looking for to at least have a baseline of knowledge in order to basically enhance on that information that you already have for their specific unit. So if you're going from one IMC to another IMC, they are going to make sure that you already have that base knowledge, okay? And then if there's anything new that they have on their unit that you have not seen, they'll make sure to partner you up with certain individuals when you're preceptor, when you get hired on, so that you can see different types of skill sets be had as well, okay? So definitely let them know the different types of patient populations that you see. The next thing I would say is if they were to ask you a question of, this patient is calling you, you have this call light going off, you have a family member at the desk, how do you deal with stress, basically? How do you manage your time? How do you prioritize? And you have to be honest with them. If you struggle with prioritization or being able to differentiate, what's good first, second, third, fourth, let them know that, but also let them also know that you are actively aware that that is something that you want to grow with, learning how to appropriately prioritize your time. As nurses, we can be very giving, and so much to the point where we forget that our responsibilities come first, not the needs of others. So make sure that your employer knows that, yes, I am actively working on, being very sufficient with my time management skills. I'm learning how to prioritize my care so that I'm not super delayed when it comes to documentation and also giving my medications. I'm very diligent on making sure that I'm able to give my all to my patient, but giving them the best communication possible in order for us both to be on the same page of when my care will be coming around. They want to know that, one, you have good communication skills. They want to know that you are able to solve problems on your own before, reaching out to the next resource. Another question that they'll ask is, why are you choosing to work in this hospital? Before you go into that interview, make sure that you look up the hospital or other facility that you're looking into working and go to their about page and read up on them. They like to know that you have done some prior research about the facility that you're going to be working in, and you've taken the time to learn more about them. They're getting to know you, but it's good to also know that you've done yourself a favor and looked up information about them. You can basically tell them more about their facility that they're working in. They like to see that you have read the mission, the values, the purpose of their hospital, and what they're trying to achieve, and you are able to incorporate your personal learning experience, you're able to incorporate your learning experience into their values as a hospital. Another question that they'll ask is, if I were to ask one of your coworkers, what is one thing about you that they appreciate? You can be honest with them and tell them, like, I'm a resourceful person. If you were to ask anybody, they will say that I'm very helpful. If they ask anybody, they would say that I am very easy to talk to. I'm able to give my time when I am able to. I'm always willing to basically lend a helping hand and also teach the next person anything that I've learned. People want to be working in an environment that is very family oriented. They want to work in an environment where they know that they're not alone in the learning process. No nurse is better than the next person because there's always something new to learn. Always remember that. So when you're going into your interview, just make sure that you let your employer know that you are there to learn. You are there to absorb as much information as possible. You are not there to, just take up space in, an area that needs a nurse being filled. You're there to really fulfill a purpose of making sure that these patients have the best health outcomes. You want to make sure that you're letting them know that, like, the patient is my top priority, the care for them is my top priority, and you're there for good reasons. Be genuine with your responses. Don't go in there super rehearsed. Definitely, I would always suggest looking up general hospital nursing type interview questions so that you can kind of have a gist of different examples that you can kind of pull into your mind based off of experiences that you've had, whether it's from clinicals or things in your personal experience in the hospitals. If you do not have a specific example of like the question that they're asking about, word it a different way where you can say that I have not experienced this, but if I was in this situation, this is how I would respond. They like to know that you're at least able to come up with an appropriate way to act in whatever situation it is that they're asking about, even if you have not been in that situation before. Even when it comes down to a patient passing away. They may ask you, have you ever had a patient pass away? And if so, how are you able to tell the family members about that? You might not have experienced a patient's death before. It takes a while before you even actually see that sometimes, depending on the unit that you're on. So, okay, I have not experienced that, but if I was in this situation, I would reach out to the family member, let them know that, hey, if you're able to, please come to the hospital as soon as possible. We would like to have a conversation. Bring any extra support people with you if you need to. They're obviously going to be very frantic, but you don't also want to worry them on the way there and something unfortunate happens to them as well. Get the family members there during the dying process before the person actually passes away. Notice the change in condition that is happening with your patient and make sure that the patient does not pass away on their own if it can be avoided. Okay, letting the patient know that, hey, we're going to have your family members come in, we're going to have your friend come in, whoever it is of next of kin that's listed on their chart. Okay, because we want to make sure that you're basically putting the patient first still during the dying process. All right. Go through the steps with your manager or whoever it is that you're interviewing with. This is what I would do if I was in that situation. They'll be able to gauge from there, if you're a good-hearted person, if you're just here to collect a check or whatever the means are. So definitely go in there with a positive attitude, be on time, come in there knowing a little bit of information about the hospital or the facility that you're interested in working in, and make sure that you just put on your best smile and be genuine with all of your answers. Know that no answer is right or wrong, but the way that you answered and you showing your confidence and comfortability in answering those questions will really go a long way. So do me a favor and like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone who is about to go on an interview with their employer or is thinking about transitioning units as well, or different hospitals. This will be a good start to definitely make sure that you have your resume up to par, and we'll definitely go over the different interview tips and tricks in order to nail your job interview.